Australia's anti-doping authority has set its sights on cheating cyclists in the wake of the fall of Lance Armstrong. This year's report on the American Tour de France champion lifted the lid on drug use in the sport. Now, Australian investigators want to know how many local cyclists are also guilty. One former champion who was caught out as a drug cheat says it's more than you'd think, as Hayden Cooper reports.
And Armstrong coming up now. At this point, my goodness me! 7 times a winner of the Tour de France. This is last moments as a professional bike rider.
Was there a discussion about doping in any way with Mr. Schwartz? Not true.
2012 will go down as the year of reckoning for the sport of cycling. A year in which secret scandal was finally revealed and the biggest star on two wheels was brought undone. But how far and how deep does the doping run?
Well, I think it'd be a mistake to think that Australia was somehow isolated from what's been happening in cycling internationally, particularly the competitors who were overseas. And so I think the level of doping within Australian cycling would probably resemble what is overseas as well.
The explosive Lance Armstrong report by the US Anti-Doping Authority has already brought down one Australian, Armstrong's former teammate Matt White, the sports director of the Australian Pro Tour team Green Edge.
Former Olympian Matt White has confessed he participated in doping while riding with Armstrong.
Another former rider and Cycling Australia Vice President Stephen Hodge also quit, confessing his own doping history as a rider in the 80s and 90s.
Clearly, those decisions I made 20 years ago, while they were a long time ago, they were bad decisions.
The veteran anti-doping campaigner Mike Ashenden believes it's just the start for both cyclists and officials.
Today, cycling above all else needs the truth, and it needs accountability for the people who are in charge of cycling to make sure that what they say is what they do. And so every cyclist that comes forward and tells the truth is going to help us to get to that position.
Academic Martin Hardy was funded by the federal government to study the level of doping in Australian cycling.
All of the traditional rationales for anti-doping, that it was bad for your health or it was about a level playing field or it was about the spirit of sport, most of the riders I spoke to just thought that was rubbish.
He spoke anonymously to 22 riders. Their accounts are compelling.
If there was 140 guys on the start line, I guarantee you 140 are on the gear. Maybe 10 weren't. Do you understand? So, why would you go to a shootout without a gun? And that's how they think.
I just know that they were probably the first team that did blood bags back a long time ago. I know they were giving EPO systematically in 1995. The doctor would walk in, syringe in your arm, walk out, have a good sleep.
Did you ever worry about your health?
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Shit, yeah.
A number of people said to me, the administrators don't care about us. We're just commodities that are expendable. And unless we toe the line, we're just out of the system. So they felt that a lot of the rhetoric of anti-doping was really about window dressing and not really about protecting them and their careers.
Now the Australian Sports Anti-Doping Authority, or ASADA, has begun its own report into drug use in cycling. Its CEO wants riders with any knowledge of doping to step forward.
If you've got information about doping or you've participated in doping, please come and talk to us. And really the message is, come and talk to us before somebody else is talking to us about you.
In the history of Australian doping cases, one stands out. Martin Vinnum, the silver medalist at the 1988 Seoul Olympics, a man who later returned a positive sample for steroids that tainted his career.
The other guys were doing it in East Germany and Russia, and they were the only ones that were close to me or able to beat me. And if you can't beat them, join them.
Now living in Tasmania, he's not surprised by the avalanche of revelations this year and says that more will follow.
There's still people existing in cycling at the moment in powerful positions that at one point in their careers were exposed to doping and knew about doping methods.
Vinnum kept detailed diary notes of his injection schedule. He names one person who helped him inject substances at a major international race. That person is now a senior Australian cycling figure.
It was known that you'd have a sudden drop in blood pressure, therefore you needed someone there to assist you. And at that time, was a person that I trusted and thought that he would assist me, and he did so. He did that.
So he handed you the vials?
He was present in the room,
But he handed you the vials?
Yes, he was there with me and made sure that I had done the...
And you injected yourself?
Correct.
Vinnum says he was given vials of drugs and a complex program of when to take them.
The things that were illegal, we don't even know what they were. And we don't even know if they were illegal.
Sometimes you didn't know what you were being given, is that correct?
Quite often.
Do you have any doubt that it was an illegal substance?
Well, I don't think it was water.
Olympic gold medalist Dean Woods raced on the same team as Vinnum. He says he was always clean, as were most riders. But in later years, he says doping became commonplace.
I would think that if anyone was involved with road cycling from the very late 90s, right up until, say, 2005, 2006, certainly there's probably a few nervous guys around. And if, they're implicated, then, it should be aired and they should be held accountable.
Doping allegations have hovered over some Australian cyclists and coaches for years. In 2004, at the Australian Institute of Sport in Adelaide, a bucket containing empty vials of growth hormone was found in the cyclists' living quarters. An investigation was held and 5 cyclists were cleared. 1998 will be remembered as one of the most infamous editions of the Tour de France. The whole Festina team was kicked out for doping after cases of EPO were discovered in a support car. One of the riders on the team was Australian Neil Stevens. He admitted taking EPO but says he thought he was injecting vitamins. Now he's employed by the Australian team Green Edge as a sports director. Alan Davis is another Green Edge rider who's been fighting doping allegations. His name was mentioned in a Spanish police operation in 2006. He was one of several riders listed in documents as a user of EPO and growth hormone. His team was barred from that year's Tour de France. The Australian protested his innocence and was later cleared by the Australian Sports Anti-Doping Authority, or ASADA. ASADA won't comment on individual cases, but it's clear that events uncovered by Spanish police are of interest.
We haven't spoken to the Spanish authorities recently, but we have been speaking with other anti-doping organisations who have been talking to the Spanish authorities. If we receive information, we're required to undertake an investigation. So any information that we receive, if we deem that to be credible information, we will investigate.
The ultimate task facing anti-doping authorities is difficult. Break through a culture of silence that's enveloped this sport for decades and overcome an environment that forces some riders to believe they have no choice but to dope.
When you're in a team environment, you do as you're told because you're constantly under pressure. The pressure is relentless and there are always other people who will take your place.
So if someone hands you a vial of something and says, take it,
you either get out of the kitchen or you start cooking. Yeah, that's it.
Hayden Cooper with that report, which was produced by Nikki Tugwell.